Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood Dasher, and I am here with my first official review, which just happens to be the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 13, episode 1. Now, this episode wasn't really given a whole bunch of like wow factor, but it was some really good in process updates that I think, we can just talk about and figure out our way through. I wrote notes, so I am ready. And so if y'all are ready, let's get into it. So the episode starts out with basically COVID and the impact of it and how it impacts all the ladies individually. And nothing really new here, just in terms of, people were quarantined, Cynthia with Mike, Candy with her family, and just saying how everything was just shut down and it just allowed them to basically just like spend time with their own individual families while their general business lives were, taken down a little bit. It also sort of goes into Portia's activism, which it seemed that this episode featured it a lot, which is great because I think as a responsible show in this climate, you should really be featuring things that are pertinent and actually happening in the world. So kudos to the production company for making Portia's foray into activism a focal point of the show. Next, we went over to Cynthia's driveway meal. And I actually really, really like this scene because I wish that I had a house to do something like this with COVID. Like, it's such an interesting idea. Like, invite your friends over, set up a little dining table in the middle of the driveway. I mean, when you have space like at Lake Bailey, you can do stuff like that. But I thought it was really, really nice. I just didn't understand why Cynthia breasts was out. I was like, ain't no men around. It's just Candy and Marlo. I was like, well, maybe other people coming, and then nobody else came. And I'm just like, girl, you are overdressed. But I say that and look at me today. I'm featuring all white Lisa Ray with the exception of the black hat. But I think me and Cynthia basically go with that whole tribe idea of I don't care what's going on in the world. I'm going to look good for me. Because, some people with, quarantine and COVID and everything, when you go out, because there's nowhere to really go, people aren't getting dressed up anymore and stuff. And Cynthia's like, not me. When I go out, I'm going to wear all my new stuff and I'm dressing up for myself. So I thought that was cool. A nice little catch-up moment between the girls. Marlo was too much with that face shield mask and the temperature gun, but girl, go ahead. I guess you can never be too safe. So actually kudos to Marlo. I need to get me one of them, like I'm gonna call it a COVID bag or a COVID preparedness bag, so I can have all my stuff in it and ready to go. Next, we are introduced to Kenya, who is still having issues with Mark. And so this is a really difficult topic to talk about because there's sort of two thinkings about it. And of course, I'm not a woman. I don't know what it is to, be in love with someone and potentially be dissolving your family because you're not happy. And in some ways, I guess it can be perceived as selfish for you to, make that decision of my happiness is greater than the sum of this union. But I just feel like if there's anyone who has done everything that you're supposed to do in a marriage to try to make it work, it's Kenya. She has rode for this man to her detriment, where it has her out here in these streets looking crazy, just trying to make her marriage work. To me, it takes two. And the other issue is that the Mark that we see on camera is apparently not the Mark that Kenya sees. When she's basically saying that he's trying to work on his family and work it out and stuff, like, we as the viewer, when we see Mark, we just see someone who's angry, who doesn't want to be on camera, doesn't, necessarily want you, loves his daughter, but, could leave or take you. And, that's a difficult thing to wrestle with anyone. So Kenya's basically, consulting lawyers, just trying to get custody issues sorted before the divorce, which I think is like super smart. And if you're a woman in a similar situation, get all your ducks in a row. So basically when it comes time to file, you've done all your legwork. So good for her. Another thing that I noticed was, the lawyer was just really, really, I think he went above and beyond just in terms of trying to comfort Kenya, because you could tell in the episode she's very hard on herself. This is something that she's always wanted, from the baby to the husband, and just the fact that it's playing out on national TV has to be difficult to deal with. Of course, I've never been married, I've never been through a divorce, but having to live it out in front of, cameras and everyone's opinion can't be easy. And so it was just nice that the lawyer was basically there for her, not only in a legal way, but also in sort of like a don't be too hard on yourself, you're doing the best you can type of way. So I thought that was really nice. It goes on to Portia taking activism on the road. I thought this was great. You see, in the initial part of the episode, I thought it was basically just like going to be like one scene of Portia doing her activism work, and then it was gonna, cut to some other stuff. But it seemed like they would weave the Portia activism throughout the whole episode, which I thought was great, because to me, just look at the level of growth. Like, the only activism I remember Portia for is when she didn't know that the Underground Railroad wasn't actually a railroad. And look at God, okay? Look at what the Lord can do. Look at what society can do when you basically have to rise to the occasion. And Portia comes from really, really good stock. And I say that in meaning that, she comes from a very, I guess, political family, with her, grandfather being an activist. And it just seems like a natural progression for her to pick up the mantle and sort of be woke in this climate and use her platform to bring more attention to it. And I mean, there were reports that people thought it was a little bit opportunistic for her to be doing this, but I'm like, if we get to the common good, then what does the journey have to do with it? I think that it's something that's deep within her spirit, and it's basically being brought out because of the current climate. And I think that's great. Any growth in anyone is amazing, so we should celebrate Portia for her activism and displaying it for all of us, because I think she could teach us a lot. Next, we went over to Candy's family moment, which I really just enjoyed, because Candy is like my favorite housewife. She has this saying that I think was so many years ago, but it just resonated to me so much. And the saying is basically, everything in your life should inspire you to make money. And so I try to think that way. And, it helps sometimes when you have like some startup money to get, different businesses started like that. But I think that it's a very valuable lesson that people can apply even on small scales in their life. So, great to see Candy thriving. It was just awesome just to see the mansion in the background, the Porsche, the kids, Todd, and then just having like this cool family moment. And then it just took a more serious turn with Riley and her father, which we've seen play out on the show before, just in terms of him being a sort of deadbeat father, and not paying his child support. And clearly Candy has the money, but at this point, it's the principle of it. If you make a child, you should be responsible for that child's upkeep and just making sure that child's okay. And so to me, the least that he can do, if he hasn't been there in the traditional sense as a father, is to pay the money. Riley's starting at NYU, which is a very, very, very expensive school. I should know, because I am in NYU. It's not even a dropout, because they wouldn't even let me in. I didn't get in, okay? I did my undergrad somewhere else, but I tried to do an MBA at NYU, and they said, hell to the no, no. And so I didn't get to go. I'm a little bit bitter. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm gonna move past it. But no, NYU and New York are very, very expensive. So I think that if Block owes Candy $100,000, then $100,000 could go a very long way in terms of paying for things. Let me turn this down. So yeah, hopefully we see it play out on the show in a good way, and that there's a good resolution to it. But I don't come from a family of divorce, so I don't even know what that is, or just parents being in separate locations. But it has to be hard as a child to know that you have a father out there, and for your father not to basically try to be in your life, or try sometimes and not make it others. And you can basically see it in Riley, that she's at this point where, I'm an adult now. I'm fully grown. I've moved past it. I've moved past the hurt. I'm still mad, but I don't really necessarily need you anymore in that traditional sense. But the least you could do is, pay your child support. Like, I think that that's the least he could do. So hopefully they get that together and we see the resolution of that on the show. Because it really is, at the end of the day, it's the principle of the situation. Candy has the money, but the fact is that, you made this life, so you're accountable for it as well. Moving on to Kenya's house construction. Listen, I love Moore Manor. I just have a very chic, clean, modern aesthetic, and that house just gives me absolute life. And so earlier in the episode with the lawyer, Kenya basically indicated how she paid for her house cash, which I think is amazing. If you have the money to buy a house cash, and this is your forever home, or just a house that you intend to be in for a certain number of years, buy it cash. I mean, what a blessing that is, to not have a monthly mortgage and just be able to use that money in other situations. So she's putting in a pool, good for her. And she was like, listen, Mark didn't want no pool, but Mark ain't here, and so I want my pool and I'm gonna get it. So I say, go off, Kenya. Get your pool and your jacuzzi and everything, and hopefully the construction goes better than it's really, really going right now. So then the ladies go inside, and I really, really enjoy the trio of Cynthia, Candy, and Kenya. I think it's just a great camaraderie between the three of them, and I think we saw this a little bit last season where Cynthia and Candy were helping Kenya through her issues with Mark, and they seem to have built a bond right there. So I really like it, and I hope they just continue that interaction, because I think the three of them are very powerful together. And there's a whole bunch of red flags between Kenya and Mark, and I think Kenya knows this. I've never been in love, so I can't really say how it blinds you, but clearly if everyone around you can see a situation clearly and you're having problems seeing it clearly because you want something so bad, it just becomes difficult. It's one of those situations where Kenya's not going to leave this marriage or this man until Kenya's ready to leave this marriage and this man. And that's the simple fact of it. So I think that by Candy and Cynthia just being there and supporting their friend, I think that's it means the world to Kenya, and that's really all you can do in this situation. I can't tell you when to leave your man. I can suggest that maybe it's a good thing for you to do based on everything that you've tried to do, and the fact that this man talks to you crazy, and the fact that you looking crazy. But sometimes in life, I guess you look crazy for love, but you usually try to do that when there's somebody who's willing to look crazy with you. And Mark has basically proven that, girl, you on your own in this situation. And I'm gonna make you look crazy, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And that's no way to live. You can do bad all by yourself, in the words of Medea. So Kenya, good luck with that. It then goes over to Cynthia and Mike, who I really, really enjoy. I love Cynthia and Mike. I think that they make such a great couple. Apparently Steve Harvey put them together, so I need me a matchmaker. Somebody find me a man or something, okay? Find me somebody, because clearly me, Hinge, and Jesus, we're coming up empty right now. But they seem to be quarantine tested and very, very strong. I mean, as many of you know, quarantine either makes or breaks your relationship. And so I've known people who have gone through quarantine and they're like, listen, deuces to this situation, I can't do it no more. And then other people where it brought them together. And I actually went to like a quarantine wedding with, they were quarantining together. They realized that they just really loved each other's company, and their love was just brought more together during this time. And he went and put a ring on it. So I think that's wonderful. The whole issue of the big wedding or not to have the big wedding, it just seemed more so that Cynthia was trying to sort of make up for the past in terms of her other weddings that may have not gone to plan, especially the one with Peter where her family hid the marriage license and all the nonsense. But Mike said something very poignant where he would just be like, am I not enough? And that really resonated because at the end of the day, yeah, it's your wedding, and yeah, it's important, and you're spending a lot of money, to do this. But at the end of the day, you're not marrying the wedding, you're marrying Mike. So I'm sort of team Mike on this. I know that we already know because of, TV, that the wedding occurred and she did end up having the big wedding and it was all, COVID tested and this, that, and the third. But it's just interesting to see how they basically got there and the conversations that happened there. Next, we go over to Candy, who's opening up her, latest business with Todd. I think it's called Blaze Steak and Seafood. I think that's great. I really, really love Candy's entrepreneurship. She can do absolutely no wrong when it comes to business in my book. She seems to have the Midas touch. And it's really something I want to emulate in my own life. You make money in one area, which enables you to invest in, other areas so that you have multiple streams of income, which I think will set us free, and so that you're not dependent on one source of income for your livelihood. So shout out to Candy and Todd for doing the damn thing in terms of being bosses of Atlanta. I mean, when I think of Atlanta, I think of Tyler Perry and Candy Burris. So I think that that's amazing. And so while Candy is with Todd and Don Juan down at the shop, she learns about Portia getting arrested for her activism and her peaceful protesting. So it was just some really, really deep moments that you basically saw from, Portia's cam, especially when they were peacefully protesting and then they started shooting the smoke bombs and she was running down the street. It just was some very powerful imagery. And, shout outs again to Portia for doing the damn thing and standing up for her people and also giving it a platform on such a national TV show. I think it's great and I look forward to seeing more of it. Anywho, guys, I think that that's basically all that I had for this video. And if you like what I had to say, please like, comment, and subscribe. I promise that I will be more timely with the episode 2 videos, as well as I might give y'all a little bit of what's that other show? The Real Housewives of Potomac, the reunion. I don't know if it's gonna be 3 parts or 2 or whatever, but I'm gonna watch it tonight and I might give y'all some of that too. So look out for that. Thanks for watching and talk to you guys later. Bye.